Hi guys, in this video we're going to just make some creepy looking floorboards ready for Halloween. We're just going to ice a board. I've just got a 6-inch one just because I'm using it for a cake topper that's not very big, but you can do it on any size. Now I've just got some Renshaw's sugar paste, which is the ready to roll icing. I've got some white and then I've dyed some like a mucky brown colour here. I've mixed loads of different colours together to get this one, but you can just put brown in, that's fine. And what I'm going to do is just try and marble them a little bit. So pull this in half and I'm just going to stick the white one next to it, give it a bit of a twist, bend it, twist it again. Same with this. Put these two together, twisting them, folding them. So you just keep doing this until you're happy with how thin your stripes are for your marbling. So I've got mine reasonably finely marbled, so it's quite thin lines, so it's not too obvious, but I've mixed it in quite a bit. So what I'm going to do now is just roll it out so it's big enough to cover my board. So I'm just going to roll this out now. So it should be marbled on both sides, so just choose the side that you like best. And all I'm going to do is put a little bit of water onto my board. So I'm just putting my water on like this, and we're just going to lay this over here like that. I'm just smoothing it lightly with my hands. If you've got a proper smoother and you want a really nice smooth finish, just go over it with a smoother. Just taking a sharp knife, you're going to go around the edge of your board. I'm going to cut around the edge. Just keep wiping the icing off your knife on like this extra bit that we're going to cut off. Otherwise you'll find that it just tears it because of all the icing collecting on your knife. If you're getting any jaggedy bits, just give them a little bit of a smooth down. But again, for this design, if it's a little bit jaggedy, it doesn't matter. What we're going to do now is put in our floorboards. I'm going to look at the way most of my lines go. So they mainly go this way, so this is the way I put my floorboards. Take something with a straight edge, so I've just got a ruler. And we're just going to press it in to put an imprint for our boards, okay? It's up to you how thick you want your floorboards to be or how thin. I'm going to make mine reasonably thin on this one. And just push in again. And then again, try and leave the same gap. If you prefer to measure it, you can do. It will give you more accurate lines, but again, I tend not to worry too much if they're not identical for this kind of design. Okay, and now what we're going to do is draw the individual floorboards in. So we're just going to put random little lines across. Again, I'm not worrying too much about how neat they are. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some rough little lines going through now using my little tool. I'll put links in the description box to anything that I do use. So again, I'm not being too neat with these. You can buy impression mats that do the little lines for you if you don't want to do it all by hand. Okay, so for some of your lines you can make them a little bit deeper. So I'm just jabbing that in because I want my floorboards to look quite old. So I want them to look like they're from like an old abandoned house or a haunted house. So I'm just scuffing that up a little bit there. Okay, so I'm going to try and push some slightly to the sides. For the odd one you might want to cut it out and then we'll place it back in at an angle so it doesn't sit really neat. So I'm just going to pick that up and bring it a little bit further forward. And I'm just going to push the edge so it still meets the end of the board. And I'm just going to push up the edges a little bit like that. And again, for all the edges now, we're just going to go over them a little bit more with this, putting deeper lines in the very edges. Just going to put some little holes in with the cocktail stick. Again, I'm not putting them in massively neatly, so that they've got a slightly scruffier effect. We're just going to brush a bit of colour on, so I've just got some edible dusts here. Again, I'll put a link to it in the description box below. So it's just an edible powder, and I'm just using a dry brush, going to brush it on. First of all, in between the floorboards. Now, I haven't waited for mine to dry, but you might find it a little bit easier if you've given them a bit of time to harden before dusting on. Okay, so I'm going to mainly brush it in anywhere where there's a crack, so in between each of the floorboards, and then I'm going to try and do it a little bit darker nearer the edges of my board. And then if you want to put any highlights on, just go over with a lighter colour dust, just in the centre of the boards, avoiding where you put your dark bits. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the fondant that we had left over, and what we'll do is we'll just roll some little bits and make little broken and bent nails coming out of the floorboards. You don't need to have many, just the odd one or two. And I apologise, I'm now covered in the dusts that we used. I am quite messy when I work. I'm just going to push that in the hole that I made earlier. Just going to roll a small circle to put on the end of my nail, so we'll stick that back in the hole. A little bit of water on there, and we'll put that little circle on. So I'm just going to add a few of these on randomly, and then once these are on, I'm going to paint them up to a different colour. Again, just using the edible dusts. So I'm just taking a metallic food colour here. This one's dried out a little bit that I've got. And we're just going to paint a little bit of the silver onto the nails. If you don't paint it everywhere on them, don't worry, because they'll just look a bit like rusty nails if they've not got a really shiny surface. If you want your board to look any more splintered, again, just take a knife and just cut small pieces into your floorboards and just pull them up a little bit so it looks a little bit more splintered. So that's it, that's my floorboards ready to put my little Halloween figure on. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.